Hello and welcome to the Your Way podcast. I have the amazing Kathleen Pitt, also known as the Quantum Psychic, with me today. So, Kathleen is someone that is in a mastermind with me, and she is amazing and she has an incredible story. So, I've invited her on today to, I guess, bust some myths, share a bit of who she is, and to hopefully inspire some of you who are in that space of there's stuff that I want to do, but I'm not sure I can make it work, or could I really make money doing that? To be like, well, yeah, maybe I can. So, Kathleen, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Do you want to, I always do with like my introduction of like what I think about people. So do you want to introduce yourself properly? Tell
Yeah, sure.
people a little bit about you.
I thought that was pretty good. My
Thanks.
name's Kathleen. I go by the Quantum Psychic. It was a name given to me in a meditation. I remember like Googling and saying like, well, who's the Quantum Psychic? I heard that in my brain. Who is that? And it was me. It didn't exist. And not even a book, not a website, not a nothing, which I thought was really odd. But yeah, that's who I am. That's what I go by on the internet. And yeah, I do think my story would resonate with your audience because I was a nurse practitioner who had been in urgent care and critical care medicine, heart, cardiac, kind of fast-paced thrilling. And I had it all and I hated every bit of it. And then one day I heard light language, which is like the language of the quantum field to me. And my entire reality shifted. And now I show up online and help people really connect to their intuition and to the future version of themselves.
Amazing. So, if we go back a little bit in your life story,
Mhm.
you talk about being a nurse practitioner. How did you get there? Was it like
Yeah.
it was something you always wanted to do? It was, yeah. I'll just shut up. You talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think like when I went to school, I had like a lot of money trauma happen when I was 18 years old. A lot of money was stolen from me by people who were very close to me. And so when I went to school, it was very much like, I need a job. Like, I have to have a job and I'm going to be successful. I know that I'm going to be successful no matter what. It was very much this passion and drive for survival, really. And also knowing that I was meant to be wealthy. Like I just never wanted to suffer. That was not my life. I would never have anything taken from me ever, ever again. So being a woman who was 18 and didn't have like familial support, nursing was just a really, really great job. I'm located in the US, so it was pretty lucrative as far as money, offers, potentials. And then yes, I always did want to go even further to that next level of being a nurse practitioner. So I went to school, university for 4 years. I went on scholarship for most of the time, so I had to work through school. I did get scholarships the entire time, so I had to keep my GPA above a certain level, which if anybody's gone through nursing school, you know is horrendous because they changed the grading scale just for nursing students, which is absolutely bonkers to me. And yeah, then I met my husband, and then I got my nurse practitioner degree like through pure grit, determination. We moved 2 times, and I had 2 babies, like while all of that was going
Wow.
on. Yeah, it was not fun. It was actually like when we talk about manifesting, a lot of people look at manifesting from like this pushing and proving kind of thing. Like I'll do it no matter what. I set a goal, I always achieve it. I visualize it and it's done. And that is definitely where I came from. And it definitely left me burnt out. Like I was just at the top of my career. I had the best job. I went on scholarship, the fancy coat, the fancy office, the fancy car, fancy hat, all the things, right? And then I was looking at this life that I fought for, that I begged for, that I put my family through hell for, and I didn't want it anymore. And then how do you wrestle with that, right? How do I go back and tell my husband for the last 10 years that everything that we did that was for my career no longer is at the top of my list?
Yeah. And so before, and we obviously definitely want to talk about the light language in the shift, but before the light language, before that thing of
Mhm.
like, well, you could tell us about it in a minute. I already know, but before that, so you've got this kind of perfect on paper life.
Yes.
You've got the kids, you've got the house, you've got all the things, you've got this fancy job. Well done. You tick the boxes of
Gosh.
success.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I've made it. And then it's like, I've made it, but it feels shit.
Yeah.
But so so kind of what was life like for you? And do you think without having had that experience with the light language, like do you think you would have changed? Would you have just carried on? Like, what do you like? I know it's hard, you haven't got a crystal ball, but like, what do you think the trajectory would have been without that thing that came in that was like, oh, like I need to go in a different direction?
Yeah. Okay, so it's a two-part question. What was my life like, right? My life was I would wake up in the morning after my 3-year-old had woken me up multiple times throughout the night. He had not slept a day in his life. And my husband did not get up with him because he just is not that guy. We're going to give him a lot of grace on this podcast. Don't come for him. It's just not, it was not our dynamic. Okay. So it was all on
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And he was 3 years old. He would be in my face like, Mommy, time to wake up. I'm ready to, you want to race Paw Patrol cars? And it's like 5 in the morning after multiple wake ups. So I'm already like, Buck. Like, I don't, can we cuss on this
Yeah,
podcast?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I'm already like, Buck, this is my day. Hey, what's up, asshole? Like, to my 3-year-old. I didn't call him that, but in my head, I'm like, oh my God, why are you awake? Like, go to bed? And then you'd get up and then you'd have the drama of the day that I didn't clean up the day before. So the dishes were in the sink, the lunches needed to be packed, the kids need their winter gear stuff on. My husband's running out the door because he has a high level, like stress level position. And then we get the kids, we're screaming at them to get in the car. We get in the car, we go to drop off. They're screaming at me because they don't want me to leave them. And I'm like
Mm,
yelling at them, like getting them off my legs, right? Then I go to work where it's like the same problems over and over. People have the same issues. Nobody wants to change. Chronic health conditions that, like, seeing now, it's like, well, that was all energy, right? But I didn't have that foresight then. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's the same day and the same day and the same day. And then you'd go home and then the kids would be crying and now it's chicken nuggets in the air fryer. And then you just go put them to sleep, pop open a bottle of wine and just like numb out. And then you do it the next day. And of course, like my husband and I were not thriving. Like that was not like a
really?
wow, it sounds like you two really had a good system. It was not an environment that was conducive to a like amazing relationship where you felt open and connected. And then like knowing what I know now, like that was we tried to connect over how our parents connected, which was trauma, which was fighting, which was just
Mm,
connection through chaos. Number one, because that's all we knew. And number two, because that's how we were living our life. And so that was what my day was like. Perfect on the outside, absolute turmoil and chaos on the inside. All the things that I wanted. Like I was a perfect parent before I had kids, right? So everybody would have gotten organic food and there would be no screen time and you'd never use melatonin and you would just have date nights every week and blah, blah, blah. All the things that I wanted and I valued were just absolutely pissed out the window because I couldn't even get a full night's sleep. I couldn't even, have 5 minutes with my kids without wishing that I was somewhere else. I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking care of myself. And that was my life. And so, yes, I had this defining moment where I heard light language and my whole world shifted. And we'll talk about that. But where would I be if I didn't have that?
yeah.
Nowhere
What do you think?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nowhere good. I think like, there's two things that well, there's something I believe is that your soul purpose will keep calling you. So I had been feeling the call and pull for many, many years of like this intuition, this like development, or I could get paid by people online, or like, how do I do that? I'd felt that call, but I had not found anything that like lit me up so I could sustain it in any long-term way. So I do believe that your soul purpose will keep calling you. It'll keep circling you until you decide to jump through. So, who knows what could have happened. But I also know that people who are in that situation and they don't listen and they don't have that defining moment and they don't follow their intuition, they don't lead themselves down that path and they don't listen to the echoes that are rumbling in their heart, they end up sick. They end up sad. They end up divorced. They end up with a bad relationship with their children, which is not something that I wanted to end the cycle. And here I was perpetuating it. So I just know like that will show up later in life as something else. And I'm just so
Yeah.
glad that that was not me.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think you're right, because I think most people do end up with, so for me, it was burnout. It was burnout, but it was burnout also with like, did I have multiple sclerosis because I was having all of these tingles, why I'd have these blood tests, and it's all of these different, which I continued to ignore and continued to ignore. Then I took a bit of annual leave made this, oh, and I hadn't had a period for 2 years, make this glib comment at the start of this period of time off. If I get a period during these 4 weeks, it's a clear indication that I need to change my life. And there, 3 weeks in, was the first period I'd had in 2 years.
Gosh
And
darn
I
it,
was like, shit, do I
Yeah.
actually have to do something with this now? I was like, oh, fuck. But it was that big wake up call. And I think for a lot of people, it is something like that. And yeah, I mean, quite jealous that you got to hear light language.
I mean, yeah, but like I would never put like that inner turmoil that I was experiencing on anyone. Like I think
Yeah.
even now looking back at where I am now and 2 years ago, because this all was 2 years ago, it was just, I mean, I would not wish that on anyone. And I see people in it now, and all I want to do is just be like, you gotta listen. You've got to follow. You've got to just take one step towards whatever is calling you and let your logic fall away for just a moment and just see where it goes, because where logic has gotten you has been incredible, and where you are now is incredible, and we can just praise and laud all your success forever. But if you just for a moment let the logic fall away, what would you do next? Just one thing, just do one thing without the logic, and then see where that path leads you.
Yeah, and I love that. And that ability to start to pay attention and open up to these possibilities. Because I think one of the biggest challenges that people have is that, like, if you think about the life that you described before, so mine was a
Mhm.
different version, similar timings, but I didn't have the kids wake me up, but I was still awake at multiple times in the night, and I would get up at 5 and start working and then try and go to the gym to try and get energy for my day, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of space in that day for thinking about what else there could be out there that I could do, or like, I wonder what my other options are. It was literally just, how do I get through this day? How do I get through to Friday? How do I do as much as I can on this weekend to recover so that I can then do this thing the next week? That was
Yeah.
literally it. So there wasn't ever that space or time to sort of take a step back and be like, is there something else I could be doing? Like, is it normal to feel like this? Because I think that's the other thing as well. It's like, well, everyone else around me seems to be fine. And they're not. But it's like everyone
Mhm.
else around me seems to be fine. Why am I not coping? It's obviously a me problem. So maybe I just
Yeah.
need to work harder,
Do
exercise
more.
harder, eat less, do all the
Yeah.
things that were just going to really make me really, really, really well.
Yeah. Wow, what a solution. And can
Yeah.
you imagine like at that time, like when you're in that like life of fear and, push and prove and pull and harder, 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 more, more, more. Can you imagine if someone said, "Hey, if you just want to pick up a paintbrush real quick and paint for 30 minutes just for fun?" Like what your response would be? Because mine would be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I have so much shit to do right now.
Yeah.
Leave me alone."
I
That's
wouldn't have been able to do
ridiculous.
it.
Oh yeah, no. It felt actually for me, it wasn't painting, but I used to sing and play piano. So for me,
Mm.
before any of this started, I was like, I got to start doing something for me. I don't know what that, I just got to do something. So my kids went to daycare 5 days a week and I worked three or four, where the place that I was working my schedule. And I remember sitting down at the piano and I started to just pluck out like old songs that I knew from memory. And it was so vastly uncomfortable. I remember stopping playing piano in my empty, empty house and turning around to make sure nobody was looking at me because it was so uncomfortable to do something for the sake of joy and pleasure that I felt like I was going to get reprimanded for doing something. But I was alone in my own house. Like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, well, it is, but also, I mean, I don't know much about your childhood, but if you think about, like, if I think about the narrative that I got, or the narrative that so many of us get of, you need to be doing something productive.
Hmm.
Because I could go to school, I did a lot of music stuff at school, and I could have music stuff before school and at lunch and after school. Then I would come home, I would do my homework, and then I'd be sitting in front of the TV, and my dad would come in and turn the TV off and say, "Turn that shit off and go and do something productive." And I look back now and I'm like, how the fuck did I even do the day?
Yeah, that's a big day already.
And that was like most days. I'm like, how did I even do that? And then, like, but I can't just like sit out and watch like some kind of mind numbing shit
Yeah,
afterwards.
I know. It's wild. And that'll carry with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're having this experience,
Hmm.
living your best on paper life,
On paper.
light language, say more. I don't know if we've talked about light language on the podcast yet. Joe's going to be on after this.
Okay. So I'll talk a little bit
So,
about it. So for me, light language is the language of the quantum field. It's energetic frequency transmitted to physical sound. This really plays into like the psychic part. So you have see, touch, hear, smell, taste. Those are your five senses in this 3D physical world. But we actually have so much more available to us in the 5D sense. When people hear about psychic, when they hear about tarot, when they hear about, they think like crystal ball or like those telephone psychics or something, or at least that was my perception before I was exposed to this world. But for me, the truth is that all of us are divine intuitive beings, and we have so much more available to us that when we use it and utilize it, it actually makes us more human, more whole, more ourselves. So when I have light language channel through me, it's an energetic frequency that I can feel. There's not a direct translation. It is simply transmitted to physical sound. So we're taking it from 5D and 3D in this timeline. So then you can hear it and feel it, right? Some people call it like starseed language, language of the quantum field. It is very akin to tongues, like speaking in tongues or the language of the Holy Spirit. So when I was at this time in my life, I think I was 32. I was just stressed and everything was awful. I was scrolling. I found this like ad for like Quantum Leap Your Life. And I was like, whatever. Okay, download it. I fell asleep. It was like 11:30 at night as I was scrolling till to sleep. And then the next day I was in my office, and before I started seeing patients, I just popped the meditation in my ears, and I had some time before I clocked in, and I listened to this meditation, and I heard this light language, and I had this full body physical reaction, like goosebumps up and down my arms, chills going up my spine, and I started crying, like big, ugly,
mhm.
fat crocodile tears. And I remembered that I actually spoke this language when I was 8 years old. So I was born and raised in the Catholic Church. It was like we were very Catholic, like just I don't know, think about the most Catholic person you know, and like we were that and like more than that. We were so Catholic. So we would go to these churches where that would happen. And I remember one time the kids were like, "Oh, we want to do that. We want to speak in tongues." And the adults started praying over the kids. And every other kid was like blibbity blee blah, but like I was actually speaking tongues, and then I was quickly like whisked away, and the church leaders were like talking to my parents, like, has she ever done that before? Like, did you know that she could do this? And then it was never talked about again. And so it was just
Mm.
like in my mind was like, don't do that. Like that was weird. And like people like really made you the fuss, the thing to talk about. So that was this moment where I remembered that number one, that had happened, and number two, that this was like a really life-changing moment for me. And then since then, it was just, I mean, it was just like thing after thing after thing. And it really catapulted me on this journey of where I am today.
Amazing. Um, I don't know how you channel light language. It's not something that I use massively in my work. I think it's because in my mind I'm like, mine's just weird.
Oh, well, there you
But
go.
yeah, I know. I know. Got some work to do. Are you able to give an example?
Yeah, we can do like a light language like activation here. So we'll do if you this is all like this might sound like gibberish to some people. It might sound different to others. Just the purpose of it is just really let it wash over you, allow it to do what it needs to do to clear what it needs to clear. This is of the highest frequency, the highest potency. So it is there to activate you. It is there to get you to your highest potential. So we're just going to take a big breath in, taking a sacred pause and moment in your day, closing your eyes if you can. And if you're driving, stop, fast forward, and come back to this later. And this is just some language to really reach your highest potential. Isia Khadathia Khanathia Khanathia Khanahia de Khanibo Fushia Khaniela Khanibo Shia Khania Sia Khanibo Tokonia Sia Khaniba Tavadatia. Breathing in, letting that light wash through you, letting those codes activate you, and letting that movement move through you. And when you're ready and on your own time, taking another big breath in to cleanse and release. You may open your eyes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I notice, and I often notice this, it's like I get when I hear light language, the experience I have is often like quite a strong pulsing in my face,
Mm.
like, but all of my face. Like sometimes it's other places, but I notice that then I close my eyes as well for a bit.
Do you feel like that's your third eye?
Oh yeah, very possibly actually.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes people feel it like for me before I started speaking, before this ever happened, I would meditate because I was into meditation but not really following it. And what would happen is I would physically feel my head being like lifted back, like all the way back. I was like, oh. And it was like, oh, now I know it's like open your throat, open your throat.
Um,
So for you, it's like open your mind, open your mind.
Yes. Yeah, I love
Mhm.
that. Every now and again, I have the impulse. It's normally around birds or like bits of nature
Mhm.
where I sort of feel it come through. Um,
Let it
but
flow,
amazing.
baby.
Let it
And light
flow.
language, like that was like obviously physical, and I'm a vocalist, I'm a singer, and I play piano. But light language can also be art. It can also be poetry. It can also be writing. It can also be playing piano or playing an instrument. It is simply energetic frequency translated to a physical modality of art expression.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for the explanation and thank you for the beautiful activation for people as well.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously you're going to be following Kathleen at the end of this podcast, or even right now. Go and look in the show notes. I mean, maybe don't pause the episode. But go and let her know what you noticed with that.
Yeah,
Um,
please do. And then I do like light language activations on my page or my Facebook group every now and then. So message me. Tell me what you got.
yeah, amazing. So you hear the light language.
Yes.
You remember as a child, but it sounds like it was one of those things that you were like, this isn't okay. I better push this down.
I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you imagine? Like, this is so I've been doing this for 2 years now. I guess I started not even 2 years, probably about a year and a half full time. And like looking at the journey of that moment to now, it's like I'm completely unrecognizable. But the beginning, like that was just, I remember messaging that person and saying, thank you so much. Like that was amazing. I remembered who I am. And they were offering like this intuitive development course. And I think at the time it was like $2,000, but in my mind it was like 80,000. It could have been 80,000,
Mm,
because at that, and when people are living, if people in your audience resonate with this, when you're living that life of like stress and scarcity and fear, and you have everything and you make great money, but it's like in it goes and in it comes and out it goes because everything is like trying to, you're just like throwing like cups of water on a house fire just to like stop the burning. Like whether it be that you've, paid for a house cleaner, or paid for a meal delivery service, or, you don't even understand that you're not going to die if your money goes beneath a certain number in your checking account. I mean, those are like real fears that come up
yeah.
and through, and you're just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And like, even if I think it was like a payment plan of something like $200, I was like, oh, I can't, I can't. But it wouldn't leave me alone. It just would not leave me alone. I felt that draw. I felt that pull. I felt this intuition. It was the first time in my life where like logic did not make sense, right? And I remember wanting to enroll and I was like not going to tell my husband about it because he like whatever money issues I have, he has them worse. For again, we're going to give him a lot of love and grace in this podcast, but that is just the truth. We love you, honey. You're so great. But he's got them worse. So I was like drop the kids off at this parents' night out and I was driving home and I was going to go home and I was going to put it like on a credit card that he didn't know I had or whatever. Because again, that's the life that you're living. So I was going home and I just had light language like pour through me. And everywhere I looked, it was 222, 333, 444, 555, 6. I'm not kidding. It was so
Mm,
disgustingly like there were so many. It's a 10-minute drive. Okay. And everywhere I looked, it was
wow.
like boom, 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 boom. And so I knew that I had to tell him. So I go home. I said, I need you to sit down. And he was like, oh my God, like, did you cheat on me? Like, what is going on? I was like, just sit down. I need to tell you something. And I told him, and I said, I don't know why I have to do this. I could not
Mm,
give you any explanation. It doesn't make sense. But if I don't do this, I feel like I'm gonna die. Like, that is how I feel. And he was like, oh, okay, like, do it. And I was like, really? Like, you're okay with it? He was like, yeah, I mean, God, this seems like really important to you. It's not a big deal. Like, yes, put it on that credit card. All good. Like, we'll figure it out. Like, this seems really important to you. And now knowing what I know, I could not have gone through that transformation without his knowing because it was so intense, so
Mm.
deep, so transformative. It upended everything I thought I knew about myself and the life that I wanted to live. And the answers were always within me. And it was just this incredible journey that I got to go on.
Amazing. So you said then about like I couldn't have done it without him being aware
Hmm.
because of the depths of the transformation.
Hmm.
Um, I think sometimes people are scared of the depth of the transformation because they have this sense, like whether it's they're scared to meet their own power. Like I know I've experienced that, like that fear of like I feel like I'm powerful, but I'm a bit scared to tap into it. Like you can
Yeah.
see it a little bit there with the like the sort of like language, right?
Yeah.
That like that internal sense of power. Um, Also, I think a lot of the time, like there's a shedding process, isn't there? There's like a grieving process because you step
Mhm.
into a new identity, you got to kill the old one, and then there's grief with that. And I think sometimes people avoid work, the work
Yeah, the
because
depth.
of the depth of it. Not to try and sugarcoat it because the depth is real, but how would you explain it? And also how would you talk about it in a way that gives people like, okay, so it would be hard, but it is worth it? Because that's my view. It is hard and it's totally
Yeah.
worth it.
I think there's like, I mean, anytime you change anything about your life, whether it be you go a new way to work or it's you leave your job as an NP and become the quantum psychic, it any change is linked to the amygdala. So your prefrontal cortex is the decision making. It's linked to your amygdala, which is the fight or flight reaction. So any change or any decision that you make that is outside the norm, that is outside your nervous system's parameters of normal, it triggers your nervous system to go into fight or flight. For me, it always came back to, well, what, like, I can either teeter on the edge of one or the other. Like, I can continue to be an MP and like maybe be intuitive, or I continue to do this and like, but then I'm compromising myself. I'm compromising who I really am. And I'll give like a very, vulnerable answer is that whenever all this was going on, like I knew it was for the better. I knew I was changing my life. I knew that the transformation was going to be better for my family, for my kids, for my husband, for me, for our financial, like everything was going to be better. But my husband never asked for that. He
Mm.
didn't have a light language moment. He didn't have this thing. He married a very ambitious nurse who had two kids going through MP school, he did everything to support me. And then I was like in this, okay, well, now I'm psychic and now I'm intuitive and now I'm, and he's like, I'm trying to be supportive, but good God, like what happened? Like, this is not who I married? And so one of
Yeah,
the best examples I can have of that, and I always like give him so much grace for this because he is there 100% now, but I just had to keep giving him grace and say like, I know this isn't who you married, but I just know that it's better. I get it. It's a lot. So we were in therapy for this. And I remember having this moment in therapy where he was kind of mean. He was like, well, now she's psychic and now she's this and now blah, blah, blah. And this isn't who I married. And like, I still love her, but what the heck? And it hurt my feelings, obviously, because that is tough. Like, I had to do so much surrender to myself. Now I have to make sure that everyone else that used to love me is going to come with me. Like, come on, don't you guys see how hard this was for me? Like, give me some credit, give me some
yeah.
grace. But the truth is like he didn't ask for this, right? So we ended the call, and I was crying. And then he looked at me. He was like, "Oh, are you going to be mad at me because I'm sharing my feelings?" And I let out this primal, like screaming in our house. And he was like, "What? Like what?" And then I started crying. And then I said, "I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm not angry at you. I'm angry because I love myself. I found myself. I didn't know that finding myself was going to cost me you. Like, I didn't
Mhm.
know that that was going to be part of it, but I can't go back to who I was. because I was fucking miserable as that version of me. And I'm finally safe and comfortable in myself, who I have always been. And I'm just remembering. I didn't know that was going to cost me you. And I think in that moment, he saw what was like, he was like, oh, like, I get it. Like, I get it that this is her and I still love her. And even though she's not an MP and even though she's not living by society norms, she's more like she's better. She's calmer. She's more regulated with the kids. She's more available. She's kinder. She's tender. Like all these things that we bonded on before, the stress of life happened, it's still me. So that's a long way to answer your question of like, yes, there are so many things that had to die. There's so much transformation that happened in the depth. And the pain was very real to say goodbye to those parts of myself. But it was not a deeper pain than it would have been to stay the same in safety and comfort and complacency. Because I, for one, cannot live that way anymore.
And I love that. And I love the story you shared as well. And thank you for sharing it so vulnerably. Um, and I think that's the point, isn't it? Like, I mean, we'd be here for hours if I shared all of the various stories that we've had, that me and Nat have had. We've been together for 18 years on Sunday, so it's been a
Ooh.
long road. I know, well, I know. It's like I could have got out of prison, I could have anyway. Um, but similarly, he married a so I was raised Catholic as well, but was very much an atheist when
Mhm.
I met him. And I mean, about as A-type and controlling and organized as you like. And I was cold. Like I was
Mhm.
loving, but I was cold because everything was very, very serious.
Mhm.
And I remember him saying to me, and it was a beautiful conversation, but look, he said, I was kind of on board. He said, I was kind of on board when you started the healing. He said, and when you got from here to here, he was like, that bit was good. He was like, but then since then, like the spiritual stuff, the witch, the like some of the experiences that I've had, some of the in things that I've intuited, or even talking to him about people that channel, he's like, I resent you for that bit.
Mm.
And I was just like, I can see that. Because
Yeah,
like
and
you
I think
said,
like
they don't ask for it.
yeah, they don't ask for that. And I think this conversation is great for anybody listening. Like this is that these are our soul partners and like this journey that you and I are on is our journey. And it's also our soul partner's journey. And I truly believe that we were born, we were born with partnerships and karmic and ties and energy, and we were born with a purpose in the exact place that we were meant to be born to have the tools that we need to be the people that we need to be. And our partner is part of that journey. And so these things and these conversations that we're having with our partner are all things that we've already decided on before we are ever born. So it's not about like, oh, when I ascend or when I choose differently or when I show up authentically as myself, well, I'm inevitably going to have a fight with my partner. It's that when you ascend, when you choose differently and your energy rises with you, your divine partner, your person in your life is going to be faced with a choice. Do they rise with you or do they stay the same? And something I like to tell my clients is I never stay quiet for someone else's peace because I am declining them the opportunity to grow. When I grow and I hold the standard and frequency of that which I desire and that which I want in my life, not only does my life improve, but for everyone else that there's a perceived cause and effect, I'm giving them the opportunity to move and grow through that as well.
Yeah, and I think this is another big thing. So many people avoid the difficult conversations. They avoid the like, this is the new standard, this is the expectation. I bumped into a couple of ladies on Friday morning. I said I can't stop. We've got to drop Sydney at doggy daycare, and then we're going down to the beach for date day. We don't live near a beach, but we're just going to drive to one because that's what I wanted to go to. And one of the ladies looked at the other ladies and was like, do you do date day with your husband? And they were like, no. She was like, no. She's like, do you think you could have a conversation with Rich? I said, well, I said, in the end, I said, we only do date day because I wanted to have date day,
Yeah,
you know,
it's important to
like
you.
like a couple of years ago or whatever. I said, it's not like Nat's like, oh, I think we need to have more quality time together. Let's put the dog in doggy daycare on a Friday and then we go and have time just for us. I was like, that's not how it went. But so many people don't want to have those conversations because it can be uncomfortable. But I mean, I'm not even going to try and repeat what you just said.
Yeah.
But not so I think my version of it is that I won't ever abandon myself for somebody else's comfort. I won't
Yeah.
ever discomfort myself to try and make someone else more comfortable.
Yeah, and I think too, like even on a further, like grander scale, like if you decline yourself the opportunity to be in your purpose, then you're declining the opportunity for your soul clients to find you, for those soul contracts to be fulfilled. If you deny the opportunity for you to move further and further into the frequency that you're calling in, or the person that you want to be, or the life that you want to live, because you don't want to make other people uncomfortable, well, then you're denying them their soul growth or what they could go and move through. So it's all this like beautiful connection. Like we are humans, we are all one, we are all connected. That is quantum, that is energy. And so it's not my job to make other people comfortable or to keep myself silent for the sake of complacency. It's my job to be myself, and then everything else will fall as it may.
So I don't think anyone listening to this is going to be in any doubt whatsoever that you found your soul's calling because it literally just pours out of you every time you open your mouth. And I mean that in the best way.
Good.
But how do you then make the transition from nurse practitioner, you've heard light language, you've had the conversation with your husband, presumably you then go and put the course on the credit card,
hmm
then what?
Then, then journey after journey after journey. The way things like I really believe that when you follow your purpose, when you follow that intuition, that alignment, things will just naturally fall into your path. Like I know a lot of people struggle with making that first initial investment into coaching, or like, what's my ROI? Like, again, back to the logic. But I started my Instagram for nothing about a year and a half ago, and now I'm like at, I don't know, I want to say like 50,000 on all platforms. Like clients came out of nowhere. People were just like, oh, I'd love a reading. Oh, I'd love to sign up. Oh, I'd love to sign up. I made back my investment super quickly because I was just like, okay, and now I'm sharing this message and now I'm doing this. I did have a meditation where, like at the very beginning of this journey, where I channeled my entire program, Super Creator. I did not know that the coaching industry existed. I did not know about intuitive guidance coaching. I didn't know about any of it at all. Like what pricing was or how many people. I think naively somebody asked me like a week into this, how many people do you want involved in your program? I was like 50. Like I've never held a program ever before. I didn't know like what capacity. I was like, I don't know. It seems like a good number. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah. And I'm going to
love
charge
it.
5,000. I don't know. Like what are we shooting for? Like I didn't know.
Mm.
And so now like, but that's all come true. Like that was just an intuitive download. And when you move that with that like uninhibitedness and you move with alignment, when you move with the divine downloads that you're receiving, then things just start to fall in your path. So to answer, that was a long way to answer your question, but I downloaded my program, I channeled it, I received guidance from the Akashic field. I'd never downloaded a thing in my life. I didn't know like what that was. I started my Instagram page. I grew super quickly. I did keep investing in myself because it was a journey. Like I kept having thoughts come up, fears come up. Who's going to judge me? Who's going to say this about me? What will it look like? What if I become really successful and then I leave my kids behind? What if I leave my husband behind? All of these things that your subconscious will do to keep you in the safe and familiar. And something I like to talk about a lot is that, we are humans. We are 3D human beings. We were born with a brain wired for survival. Everything, if someone says, hey, can we talk for a minute? Question mark, and they send it to you in a text, you're going, "Wah!" It's like, oh my God.
What have I
Like,
done
no, call
wrong?
me right now. Like, I cannot deal with this. And so, like, that is, we have the same response as if a tiger was chasing us, but that's not true. They just want to know what your Starbucks order was. So we have these hardwired subconscious nervous system regulation, things in place. So everything unfamiliar seems unsafe. But we also have the gift of neuroplasticity, which is making new neural connections, new wire, able to rewire that subconscious. And I really believe that this is going to be like the ascension of humanity, or like the evolution of the human race, is when people can get into that subconscious, they can rewire it, and then they can move to their next level of embodiment and freedom.
Love it. Love it. So you grew super fast.
Mhm.
How, at what point did you let's pause. Let's wind it back. And not actually wind back because my assistant doesn't edit this. I like it to be raw and real.
Good.
Good. How long or yeah, how long did it take for you to get to a place of I'm gonna leave the nurse practitioner stuff behind and actually I don't know, maybe it was trust that you would make as much money or that you were making as much money. Like, what does that look like? Because there's often this narrative of like, I need to really push to make my first whatever, or like it's going to be really hard or it's going to be really slow in the beginning. And it's just always nice to like be like, not necessarily, guys, not
Yeah.
necessarily.
I left my job in 8 months. I replaced my income in 8 months.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really amazing. It was awesome. That's the
Yeah.
best. And I think too, like there's so many other things at play. Like my husband's job accelerated also super quickly during this time. And now, like at this, it's this December 2nd, 2025, I started my business in February, March of 2024. Um, his job, like we would just not have been able to sustain that life with the job that he has now. So I did need to step back then to create the income so that I could be where I'm at now. So there's this divine interplay of sorts of like his destiny and mine, like moving together, that it all, you look back and you can see, oh wow, look how amazing that was, or how that happened. And I think that that's a beautiful testament to show you that when, even if it's uncomfortable, or even if it's weird, or even if it's different, if it's aligned, if it's meant for you, like it will not miss you. It's not your job to question, like, why me? It's your job to say, this feels so much like me more than it ever has. So I was able to replace that income. I quit, yeah, in September. And then my kids' daycare, like at that time, went free, which is like not something that typically happens. And the other one started school. So then we are still able to put them in school full time, had that financial kind of thing taken off, and I was able to really focus on my business full time.
Amazing.
Mhm.
So you described near the start of this podcast what your days look like. Beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah.
stress-free days as a
Yeah.
nurse practitioner with a 3-year-old.
Oh my God,
Now,
yeah.
I know because I see it lots on Instagram, so I know not every day is the same. But
Hmm.
what does the schedule of the quantum psychic look like? Replacing her nurse practitioner income. But and I think this is really important because so many people are like, but if I start my own thing, it's going to like take so many more hours and I'm going to be so tired and am I just going to do the same stuff in a
Mm,
new
yeah.
job? And you might, but not if you actually get the support that Kathleen's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does a day in the life look like now?
Okay, so part of the thing that this all opened me up to is quantum healing. So I took my son to two or three different quantum and energetic healers. Crazy story for another podcast, but he is now sleeping through the night. And that was huge. That was huge. We did combination chiropractic, energy work, and traditional and herbal medicine. So it's just this whole healing process for him. Again, the divine destiny moving all the pieces all together for everyone. Um, and then so that happened. And yeah, I mean, like it's been a journey and a transition to get out of that hustle and out of that movement, out of filling my days
Oh,
with busy work. But now we wake up at 6, me and the kids do, they don't start school till 9. And so I spend the morning just doing all of my like tasks, like housework tasks if they need to be done. So like cleaning the kitchen, unloading the dishwasher, looking to see what we have for dinner. Do I need to go to the store, popping the laundry over? Not a big deal. Getting time with my kids, quality time. They're really into drawing and coloring right now. So we spend like 20, 30 minutes doing like an arts and craft. And then we have like, I'm able to help them, get chores. Like that's huge. Like, oh, okay, you're responsible for getting your snow gear in a backpack and it's not stressful and we're not screaming to get our boots on. We're just going to talk about the day we're going to have and the friends we're going to make and the things that we're going to do. Which may sound boring to some people, but if you've ever been in that like chaotic like thing with your kids and you realize you're perpetuating the cycles that your parents did, you can begin to see like how much more calm and regulated this space is. Yeah, then we get in the car, we drop off at school, I come home. I walk the dog about 2 miles and listen to a podcast or a walking meditation that I would like to or enjoy. Then it just depends. I do content creation, I meditate, I tune into my daily vision of what, future me is doing, what are the aligned actions I need to take today. I only have calls 2 days a week, and then Wednesday I have completely free of work. So it's like everything I need to do around the house or shopping or returns. And then Friday I always go out of office, like I get out of my house and into a cafe or a hotel that I wanted to check
Nice.
out or something just to be, I don't know, exposed to a different environment, but it's just way more like structured and in flow and what I desire and like what really lights me up. And then workouts are like, I have a different schedule for those. Sometimes it's in the afternoon, sometimes it's early morning, but it's all about like not doing the thing because I have to do the thing. It's doing the thing that feels really juicy and aligned. Like, I love this work. I love talking to my clients. I love producing content. I love telling people about the power that they have. But I don't want to do that all day because then you stare at a computer screen and your brain's going to get fried. So it's a beautiful balance that I get to create in my life now.
Yeah. And it sounds amazing. I don't think anyone's going to be listening to that being like, no, I think it sounds better being in an office all day.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, my husband and I are incredibly aligned and beautiful, and we text each other, I love you. He's so busy, but I get one text that says, I love you. I hope you're having a great day every day, which is
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, as we're coming up to the end, one thing that I think would be really interesting for people to hear about is, and you've mentioned it a couple of times, when you talk about your future self, or like that version of you, or not necessarily like that, not even necessarily your future self, but like that version of you that exists within you now.
Hmm.
So kind of like harnessing the quantum experience. Can you say a little bit more about that for people?
Yeah, I think for anybody listening to this, actually, I know that anybody listening to this is listening and hearing like a nudge for more, whether that be more intuition, more guidance, more magic, more miracles, more something. There's something out there that's calling you for more. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening to a conversation with Wealthy Witch and the Quantum Psychic. I mean, this is the magic that's whispering in your soul. And all I can tell you is that the reason that you feel that whisper, the reason that you feel that pull, the reason that you're just like, this is kind of interesting, is that there's something inside of you telling you that this is your way forward, that there's something within this world or these concepts that will just won't leave you alone. And the reason that it won't leave you alone, so in the quantum field, we believe that, infinite possibilities and potentialities are happening simultaneously all at once. I do have a master's degree in science. I am not going to go into that right now. It's a whole other podcast in itself, but it's all happening simultaneously. So when you feel that itch or that move to more, that is future you trying to get your attention. When I was driving and I heard that I had light language, I had to go tell my husband the 444, 222, 333. I believe that that was future me giving me signs and synchronicities and showing me the way forward, asking me to pay attention, reminding me that it's done, showing me that there's something else out there calling my name. And one of the tenets of my coaching and my marketing and my messaging is you cannot follow a strategy that someone else has done. You cannot follow somebody else's blueprint for success because only future you knows exactly how to do it with the house that you have, with the partner that you have, with the kids and the animals and the problems that you have and the relationships that you have with the time that you have. Only future you knows how to do that. She will give you or he will give you all the answers you need if you just tune into the fact that it's done.
Amazing. And I love that. And so, how do you help if people are like, I need to know more about this lady because she is speaking my language and yes, please. You mentioned Super Creator, but just in passing before the program that you downloaded. By the way, when Kathleen says that she downloaded a program, she means that like she channeled it into her mind. She doesn't mean like she went on the internet and was like,
Yeah,
download
yeah,
here.
sorry.
Just
Channeled.
just just because there will be a spectrum of people listening to this.
True.
Um yeah, so do you want to share a little bit about Super Creator and then also where can people find you? Because you've started a Facebook group recently, haven't you, as well,
Yes, yeah,
which is
that's
cool.
been
So
awesome.
share
Okay,
all
so
the things.
I'm the quantum psychic on all platforms. Message me wherever, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I have a bunch of freebies, a bunch of communities, things that will really just get you immersed in the quantum and the magic as quickly as possible. But yeah, so I do this work because I love this work and I offer free things to people because I want people to know the limitless potential that exists inside them. But if you're ready for that next level, if you're ready for something and you hear that calling for more, Super Creator is my flagship program. It is my 6-month quantum transformation portal where we take you, this person that knows that they're made for more, that either has a business that's not really living up to the potential that you know is yours, or don't even have a business, just know that you're made for more. And we get you immersed in that quantum magic, in tune with the frequency of the future you that keeps calling you. And we watch miracles and magic drop in from the vortex.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I always love how people can come and share like their different things because on one level, we do kind of similar work,
Hmm.
but it's similar work that's so different. So like on a recent call, I sort of said, if people want to come and do more like nature-based ritual, like very kind of body-based practices, to work with time and alchemize time, they're going to come to me. And I was like, and if they want to work with the quantum field, they go and work with Kathleen.
Yeah, I do remember saying that. Yeah, I mean, like there's no scarcity of clients or people or
No, exactly.
opportunities. It's just like what's calling me? What's the frequency? And like I've had people sign up with me and then sign up with someone else. And I'm like, oh yeah, beautiful, because it's all like this journey. And who am I to judge the journey? It's not mine.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. So please go and connect with Kathleen on all the places. Go and join her Facebook group. The Facebook group's new, but it's cool. There's been some good videos in there.
Yeah.
Download, say hi to her, and I guess if I was gonna offer any other kind of takeaway, it's a lot of people that I know they've got this internal level of magic, a gift, as something that
Mm.
doesn't fit into a neat, like I went to school and I trained in this box. And it's very easy to tell yourself that you can't do something with it. And I hope that Kathleen has provided you with a little bit more kind of inspiration slash motivation to be like, oh, maybe I can. Maybe this thing that I keep telling myself is a pipe dream, if I step away from the logic for a minute, could become my reality. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
want to also point because I think you said it so beautifully. It's like instead of looking at it as like embodying a whole new identity, a whole new world, like how crazy is that going to be? It's actually your evolution. So, like, you
Mm,
were a lawyer, correct?
yeah.
Yeah, and you are very good at organizing things and you're very diplomatic and you know how to reach those people that you're like, no, I understand practicality, but let me teach you how to do it with a little magic, right? And I'm a nurse practitioner and then I'm doing this. So I know how to talk to people. I know how to read the room. I know how to heal people with my hands because it's not actually that I did this and I changed everything about myself
Mm,
to be this person. It's that it's always been me and everything was happening for my evolution and growth. And now I'm here, and it's not a change, it's a remembering of who I've always
yes.
been over every lifetime.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to add before we finish?
No, I'm good. I've talked enough. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. You've been absolutely incredible. I can't wait to hear what feedback we get from this one. So,
Amazing.
this is going to be our penultimate episode of the year. Christmas Day is something a little bit different. We're going to do a celebratory podcast where people are just going to come on and share some good stuff from their year. It's been a year of shedding. It's been the year of the snake. Like a lot of people have been through a lot of stuff. But as you've kind of heard from the conversations we've had today, through that shedding process, through that evolution process, through that growth process is so much beauty and goodness. So that will be the Christmas Day episode. Obviously, listen to it whenever you wish. Um, And then we'll be back in 2026. Can you believe it? So,
No, I
Kathleen, thank
can't.
you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
My pleasure. And I will see people next time. Bye.
Toodaloo.